Hi everybody, this is Hilda with MEI Culture Committee, and as some of you may know, today is National Organ Donor Day. This day is observed every year on February 14th, and what better day to celebrate the gift of life on Valentine's Day, the day of love, right? It's not just about your partner, your wife, your girlfriend, boyfriend, or whatnot, but it's about just loving one another and the friendship that we are able to create with one another. National Organ Day is an observance dedicated to spreading awareness and education on organ, eye, and tissue donation. National Donor Day was started back in 1998, and it has saved so many lives. Sarah House, one of our MEI employees, will be sharing with you today the story on her late husband, Nathan. She's going to share his Donate Life message and what lives he's been able to change and how that has helped her as well through the mourning of her late husband. We hope that by watching this video, together we can each take a small step to help and save and heal more lives. We honor all of those individuals who have given the gift of life to someone, those who have received it, and those who have passed waiting for the right organ transplant. Thank you for watching.
Hi, everyone. I'm the recipient of Nathan's heart. I've had heart trouble since the age of 36. As I grew older, the problems progressed to a point where I could barely function. I felt horrible, and things weren't looking very good for me. I then had a levat installed in my heart, but unfortunately, it only lasted a couple of months. I found myself at the KU Med Center and was told that I wasn't going to be able to leave until they found a new heart for me. That's a lot to digest. Thankfully, it wasn't long before I received word that a heart had been found. Things went in motion, and as they began to prep me for surgery, they took away my freshly served omelet that had just been delivered to my room. Later that night is when I received Nathan's heart. It's been a long road of recovery, but now that I'm 3 years into post transplant, life has been renewed. I'm back to being able to spend time with my family, granddaughters, and also get back to work. Other than meds and doctor visits, life has pretty much returned to normal, thanks to Sarah and Nathan. One of the biggest positives of the whole ordeal is we have gained a new friend in Sarah. Nathan was a lucky man to have been with such a wonderful and giving person. Thank you both for the gift of life.
Thank you so much for joining us, Sarah. Thank you for being here to share your story. I know that it's a very emotional and hard story to tell at times, but we appreciate you willing to share it with us so that we can continue to educate everyone about the importance of becoming an organ donor.
Yes, thank you. I like to share his story.
That's good.
So, Nathan,
It's okay, take your time.
he passed away in February due to a brain tumor that we didn't know that he had. He made the brave decision to put on his driver's license that he was a donor. And on February the 9th, sorry.
It's okay. Take your time.
Was the day that they pronounced him brain dead due to this tumor. On February the 11th, he was brave enough to donate his organs, and he has been able to save 5 lives.
5 lives.
Yes.
That is amazing. Now, Sarah, let me ask you, was him becoming an organ donor something that y'all discussed, or was it just something that he took the initiative to do on his own?
We have not discussed that. That was something that he had on his driver's license when I met him in 2007.
Okay.
So for as long as I knew him, he was an organ donor.
Okay.
And he never wanted to change that. He actually was the reason why I changed it on my driver's license.
Did you change it after the fact that he passed?
I did.
And that you saw the difference it made in others' lives?
I did. He was saving so many lives. I have got contact with his heart recipient, and I also have contact with his left kidney recipient. And those are 2 of the most beautiful relationships that that I have at this moment. Just knowing that Nathan was able to provide life to someone that was in dire need,
Right.
per se.
Tell us a little bit about Nathan. What type of person was he?
Nathan was the most outgoing person I have ever met. He brought me out of my shell. I'm just this shy person who doesn't have much of a personality, but he brought that out.
I would not agree with that comment, but okay.
He was the most outgoing, most loving person in the world. If you needed anything, he was going to make sure that you had it.
That's good.
And that shows.
Yes, it does, definitely. Even by him making that decision of being an organ donor, he wanted to help other people even when his time was up, and that says a lot about him as well. How has that helped you? I know losing a loved one is a very hard thing to go through, and it's something that you never recover from 100%, right? You always have that emptiness and that longing for that loved one. Him being an organ donor, has that helped you in any way throughout the mourning of your late husband?
It has. Like I said, I was able to get into contact with 2 of the recipients. Actually, I had another one just reach out to me last month, I believe, who received tissue from an ACL reconstructive surgery.
Oh, wow.
So, just being able to know that I have contact with them, it makes me feel better.
It does.
Knowing that the brave decision that he made to become a donor he's my hero.
That's
about all I
awesome,
know.
Sarah. That is awesome. Tell us a little bit about that process that day, or the process up to him becoming that donor. I know a little bit of that backstory because I've known you prior to that happening, but I know there's a lot of myths around that people really don't know what the process is to become an organ donor. I know it says you just sign it on the back of your license, right? But nobody really takes the time at times, I think, to really understand what that process looks like. I know I've had people tell me before, I'm personally an organ donor as well. I have that on my license since I was young, since I got my license. But one of the things that I found really interesting is that some people think that if your driver's license says you're an organ donor, immediately when you go to the hospital, they're going to try to make you an organ donor and not necessarily give you the attention, medical care that you're needing. What would you say to that?
He received probably the best care. You know, they don't want someone to die on their hands. But if it's inevitable, then they're gonna try and make it as easy on the family and the patient as possible. Organ donation, there's a lot of support in organ donation when you're going through it. For the family. For me as his wife, I had the Life Gift, which is the company who comes in and they are the ones who has the registry for recipients. They come in and they talk to you. I can honestly say I don't remember much about that. That was a pretty traumatic time in my life. But they come in and they walk you through the whole process, and they don't leave your side until they have taken him back to retrieve his organs. And they walk with you as you're walking down the hall to go into the ER for him. They're amazing people. There's a lot of questions that I had to answer, being his spouse, about his personal life. So I would encourage people to know some pretty invasive questions, because they ask them about, has your spouse done this in return for this?
Right.
Or they're very, very invasive questions. So you need to be prepared for that.
So would you say it's I know recently we had a blood drive, right? And is it some of those kind of questions,
Yes.
like on the blood drive,
Yes.
when you're going to donate blood, the questions they ask of where you've been, what you've done, things of that sort?
It's exactly those questions.
Okay.
And a few more.
And a few more.
But yes, those are the exact same questions.
Was it difficult for you to accept the fact that he wanted to be an organ donor at that time?
No, I completely supported it. The only thing that I was unaware of was, they have to keep him alive and on a ventilator to keep his organs alive.
Right.
Until they got into where they needed to go. One of the last things that he had said to me was, "Don't leave me hooked up." And I told him I wouldn't, because I knew that that's not what he wanted.
Right.
So I had a lot of stress knowing that he was still being kept alive,
Right.
but it was on his own will because he was a donor.
That's something that I didn't know either until I was getting myself prepared for this video that we're doing today. And so I started doing some research. Although I am an organ donor, I wasn't aware of certain things either. And I wasn't aware that they do have to keep your body alive until they find a match for your organs, to be able to remove them and for them to be of use for somebody else. How much time were you able to stay with Nathan until he was able to find the recipients for his organs?
All of it. I was with him from the moment he went into the hospital until they took him into the ER for them to retrieve his organs. I never left his side. Luckily, COVID hadn't hit yet,
Right.
so I was able to.
It was right before COVID.
It was right before COVID hit.
I remember, yeah.
So, I got to be with him the whole time. And the night of February the 11th, which is the day that they retrieved his organs, he was in the ICU for 48 hours. And because he was a donor, and we had so many people, they do this at like a lot of the hospitals. I'm pretty sure 100% of the hospitals, but they do what's called an honor walk, or walk of honor, I should say.
Okay.
And they would just line the halls, and they wheel him down, and I was walking beside him. We had so many friends, family, hospital employees, other families of people that had family members in the hospital. Just watch us walk down and praised him, saluted him, thanked him. It was amazing.
Thank you, Sarah, for sharing your story. I know that it's hard, and I know you personally as well as in work, and I really appreciate you sharing what you've gone through and how Nathan being an organ donor has helped you throughout the morning of his life, right? And you're able to celebrate his life continuously, knowing that he is alive in somebody else, and he's given somebody else the opportunity to still be here with his organs. And I think that's an amazing thing. I think that says a lot about him and a lot about you as well. Our hope today in making this video for all of you is that you're able to relate in some kind of way and see someone that you know, or just hear somebody's story, not just read the numbers, not just hear about it on the news or social media, but really see someone that has gone through this experience and see how that has helped them to know that their loved one has kept someone alive. We never know what tomorrow brings. We don't know if one of our loved ones will need an organ, if they'll need tissue, an eye, anything. We don't know.
Yeah.
And it's important that even after we're gone, we can still leave a legacy because we're helping continue someone with their life.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
So I hope that you take the time to listen to this video and to really go online and get educated. Find out what you're able to do. There's actually donors as well that are live donors. You're able to give a kidney. There's so many things you can do to help so many people out there that are in great need to be able to stay alive for their family. So I strongly urge you to look into it if it's something that you're able to do. If it's something that you feel in your heart that you want to do this, then please take the time to investigate and find out what the details are. Leave everything in writing. I know we don't like to think about death, but unfortunately it's a reality. It comes as we are born, our lives end, and it's important that we have things set in place so that our loved ones don't have to make those decisions for us. Thank you so much, Sarah.
Thank you.
If there's anything else you'd like to say, anybody out there that's on the fence about becoming an organ donor and just not sure, is there anything you'd like to say to them?
I would say, if you have questions, please educate yourself. Go online, read up on it. If you want to ask me. I'm an open book. I share Nathan's story as much as I can. So just educate yourselves, and please become a donor. It saves lives.
Thank you, Sarah, so much.